Welcome to Gridiron Ring, a sports talk show covering football and professional wrestling. I'm your host, Encyclopedia Sports, Colehan Luke 96. College Football Bold Predictions 2018, Part 5 today in this audio recording. So hopefully you guys enjoy. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button, and also be sure to subscribe to Gridiron Ring right here on YouTube. Also, follow, and subscribe to Gridiron Ring and myself, Colehan Luke 96, on social media. All the links are in the description below. So as I said, Part 5 of my bold predictions for college football here today. Some more games this upcoming weekend, Friday, December 28th, and Saturday, December 29th, headlined by the two college football playoff semifinal games, the Goodyear Cotton Bowl and the Capital One Orange Bowl between Clemson and Notre Dame and Alabama and Oklahoma. I'll get to those here in a second. But first, the first game on Friday, December 28th, is the Franklin American Mortgage Music City Bowl down in Nashville at LP Field, home of the Tennessee Titans. The Titans will actually play 2 days later, same field, on Sunday night for Sunday Night Football versus the Indianapolis Colts. By the way, for the two college football playoff semifinal games and the Steelers-Bengals and the Sunday Night Football game this weekend, the final regular season game in the NFL this year between the Colts and Titans, I will be live right here on YouTube doing live reactions, play-by-play of both of those games, so be sure to tune in. Just hit that subscribe button. You'll get a notification if you hit the little notify bell next to it as well whenever I do go live right here on YouTube for both of those events. So Purdue out of the Big Ten facing Auburn out of the SEC in the Music City Bowl at 1:30 on Friday. By the way, once again this week, this is being recorded early Friday morning. I will have it uploaded sometime late Friday night, probably going to be after the Music City Bowl is over, to be honest with you, because I got some stuff to do here today, Friday, December 28th, but I will be on YouTube this weekend, so like I said, just subscribe and tune in. So Purdue, Big Ten team, I got to take the Boilermakers over the Auburn Tigers. Both these teams, though, up and down all season long. Purdue, big win over Ohio State. Really, that's why Ohio State didn't make the playoff even after winning the Big Ten, because they had that one loss there on the road, a blowout loss to the Boilermakers in West Lafayette. And Auburn, like I said, same thing. They started out strong, big win over Washington and Atlanta. I believe they're 4-5-1. They're in the top 10, and they lost like 3 of their next 4 of their next 6 or 7, whatever it was, to end the season. So, should be a good game. I could see a blowout from one of the teams, whether it be Purdue or Auburn. Auburn basically playing in their backyard, in SEC country in Nashville, because that's where Vanderbilt's at. But it's being played at LP Field, home of the Titans. But I got to pick Purdue out of the Big Ten, being a Big Ten fan. And you got to root for your conference during bowl season. And I said that during Part 4, if you guys want to go back and listen to that. So the Camping World Bowl, also taking place on Friday, the 28th of December. West Virginia, out of the Big 12, they finished 8-3 because they had one game that got postponed, got canceled, versus NC State. So they only have played 11 games so far. This will be their 12th game, and they will be without their starting quarterback that they've had the past couple years, the former Florida quarterback, transferred up from Gainesville to Morgantown, and he's one of the top quarterback prospects in the NFL this upcoming draft, and this is why he's sitting out to prep for the NFL, and that's Will Grier. So West Virginia and the Mountaineers will be without Will Grier, and they're going up against a old foe out of the Big East, the Syracuse Orange, who are 9-3, had one of the best seasons in recent memory for them, and they can put up points. West Virginia, they can allow teams to put up points on them as well, if that makes any sense. Their defense, in particular, there. Just go back to the Oklahoma game on Black Friday. I believe they lost that game 59-56. So probably going to be high scoring. We'll have to see how West Virginia plays on offense without Will Grier, but with Will Grier not playing, I'm going to pick Syracuse to defeat West Virginia on Friday, later tonight. Game's at 5:15 on ESPN down in Orlando, Florida. This will actually be the second time West Virginia's played in this bowl game in the past 3 years. 3 years ago, though, or 2 years ago, It was still called the Russell Athletic Bowl, but sponsorship and whoever is sponsoring the game, whoever pays the most money, that is who the sponsor will be. That's how it's always been. But they changed it to the Camping World Bowl there last year because it's Camping World Stadium down in Orlando, the Citrus Bowl. And this will be the second bowl game in Orlando at this stadium as well so far this bowl season. The Cure Bowl, that kicked off bowl season, was also held there. And then the Citrus Bowl between Penn State and Kentucky next Tuesday, January 1st, will also take place down in Orlando. I'll be on YouTube doing live reactions, play-by-play of the Citrus Bowl, as well supporting the Penn State Nittany Lions. So then also later tonight, Friday, December 28th, the Valero Alamo Bowl, Iowa State out of the Big 12 as well will face Washington State out of the Pac-12. We saw a Big 12 Pac-12 game, a Big 12 SEC game last night, a shootout down in Houston, Baylor and Vanderbilt. Baylor won the Texas Bowl, so congrats to the Baylor Bears. I got that one correct. And I believe going into today, I am 10-9 in my predictions, if I counted correctly. So yeah, I believe I'm 10-9, but I'll let everybody know how I do record-wise once all these bowl games are done and over with. We got this weekend for college football. Got the bowl games today, tomorrow, Saturday. I'll get to those here in a second. And then Monday, New Year's Eve, the 31st of December, and then New Year's Day, January 1st, 2019 already. Those will be the last college football games of the season up until the FCS National Championship game next Saturday between, I believe, Maine is playing North Dakota State. North Dakota State might be playing Eastern Washington, though. I'd have to check on that. That's somewhat on the back burner there. But then also the college football playoff National Championship game out in San Francisco, Santa Clara Levi Stadium, home of the San Francisco 49ers. That's Monday, January 7th, 2019. And then we'll have, the Senior Bowl and all the All-Star games, to close out the season before all these players start prepping for the NFL if they are going to be making the jump. But I know there's another Big 12, Pac-12 game. Might actually already have taken place. Let me look here. Oh, yeah, that was Cal TCU the other night. That was the Cheez-It Bowl. I knew there was another one. That's why I was about ready to say Big 12, Pac-12 last night, but 2 nights ago. So Big 12 SEC last night, Baylor Vandy. Baylor won. But 2 nights ago, as today, is early Friday, December 28th, like I said there. Cal played TCU in the Cheez-It Bowl out in Phoenix. And what a shit show that was. Teams combined for 9 interceptions. But TCU found a way to win in overtime on a game-winning field goal 10-7. So, congrats to TCU. I got that one right as well. But so, 2 Big 12, Pac-12 bowl games within a span of a couple days here. The Valero Alamo Bowl, like I said, down in San Antonio at 9 p.m. later tonight. Iowa State, Washington State. Iowa State, really, another great season for the Cyclones from Ames. Finished 8-4. Washington State 10-2. Should have won the Pac-12. Should be playing in the Rose Bowl versus Ohio State, but they lost the Apple Cup to Washington, and Washington's playing Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. Let me know in the comments below too if you guys want me to do live reactions, play-by-play of this year's Rose Bowl. I'm thinking about it, leaning on the fence there, but Washington State, Iowa State, Valero Alamo Bowl. I'm going to pick the Cougs. I wouldn't take Mike Leach, high-powered offense. We've seen what he's been able to do at Texas Tech and Lubbock with Graham Harrell, Michael Crabtree. He's got Gardner Minshew up in Pullman now, and he was a Heisman favorite this year. Didn't get invited to New York City. His name, keep an eye out for him this upcoming year or next year, moving towards the NFL, because he's one tough cookie there at quarterback. So Iowa State, good season, but Washington State's had a better season. I think they'll cap it off with a Valero Alamo Bowl victory over the Cyclones of Iowa State. Then on Saturday, we got 5 games here? Start off with the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, Florida and Michigan. These two teams met in the Citrus Bowl a couple years ago. Michigan absolutely destroyed Jim McElwain's Florida Gators by a score, I believe it was 41-7. I'd have to check on that. But Michigan now, they got Shea Patterson at quarterback, a former SEC player at Ole Miss. He knows the Florida Gators. He knows now head coach Dan Mullen's defense. Dan Mullen was the head coach of Mississippi State when Patterson was at Ole Miss. Patterson at Michigan now, Mullen at Florida. McElwain actually just got the job at Central Michigan too, by the way. But Michigan, Big Ten team, have the best defense in all of college football this year. I think it'll be low scoring, 13-10 somewhere in there, down in Atlanta in the Peach Bowl, Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, and I think Michigan will get to 11 wins once again under Jim Harbaugh into the future, especially next year. Michigan will probably be ranked in the top 10 to start next year, and will be an early season candidate to win the Big Ten East and win the Big Ten conference overall in football next year, with Urban Meyer retiring, Ryan Day stepping in. Yeah, they'll have the same players from this past year, the ones that don't leave, obviously. But then Ryan Day going to be bringing in some of his guys, recruit-wise coaches, and I really don't know how to feel about that yet. So Michigan, especially with Harbaugh going into his fifth year next year at his alma mater in Ann Arbor, Michigan, I think they'll win, and they'll build off of this win. And I could really see Michigan being in the playoff next year. I know, obviously, this is all hypothetical speaking and a long look towards the future. Very early prediction on this, but I could really see Michigan being in the playoff next year and maybe even winning the national championship next year or within the next 3 to 5 years. Belk Bowl in Charlotte, South Carolina, Virginia. Give me the Wahoos. Got connections down in the lover state of Virginia, so give me the Cavs or the Gamecocks. Nova Home Loans Arizona Bowl, Arkansas State, the Sun Belt in Nevada. Arkansas State up and down. Nevada, they can put up points. Nevada, Wolfpack will win. And then the two college football playoff semifinal games. They will be the Goodyear Cotton Bowl, like I said there, between Clemson and Notre Dame at 4 p.m. on ESPN, Saturday, December 29th, tomorrow. And then later on in the day, in the Capital One Orange Bowl down in Miami at Hard Rock Stadium, Oklahoma will play Alabama. So 3 undefeated teams in the playoff this year, Oklahoma being the one with the one loss. They lost to Texas, but they got revenge for that. They defeated Texas in the Big 12 title game. So basically all these teams are undefeated, if you ask me. Notre Dame, they shouldn't even be undefeated, though, if you ask me on that, too. They had a lot of close calls, but they still found ways to win in the end, and that's really all that matters. But they're going up against Clemson. There is some storylines going into both of these games. Players on both Clemson and Alabama suspended. They will not be playing in this game, and then if they win, they will not be playing in the College Football Playoff National Championship game on January 7th. Alabama, big question for them for their game versus Oklahoma. Will Tua Tagovailoa play? Ankle injury, had surgery on it, went down with the ankle injury in the SEC title game versus Georgia because his tackle backed up into him when he got blocked. But Tua has said he should be 100% come game time late Saturday night there, 8 o'clock on ESPN in the Orange Bowl. I mean, if he can't play, Jalen Hurts, he had 25, 26 wins as a starting quarterback at Alabama before Hurts came in, or before Tua came in the second half last year in the national championship game versus Georgia. I know Hurts has the loss versus Clemson in the national title game 2 years ago down in Tampa, if you guys can remember that. And if both Clemson and Alabama win, they'll be meeting in the playoff for the 4th consecutive season. They met in the national championship game out in Glendale 3 years ago. 2 years ago, national championship game in Tampa. They both split. Alabama won the first. They left Lane Kiffin behind, if you guys remember that. He ended up taking the Florida Atlantic job. Clemson won in Tampa with Deshaun Watson, who's playing for the Texans. And then last year they met in the Sugar Bowl and won in the semis. The winner goes to the national title game. Alabama won. They went to the national title game, played Georgia. Tua came in the second half because Hurts wasn't playing that good in the first. Tua came in and led Alabama to victory in the second half over the Bulldogs. So that's why the Alabama-Georgia game that Tua got hurt in, a couple weeks ago, December 1st, in the SEC title game, meant a whole lot because it was a big rematch. And I think we're going to be getting part 4, long story short, with Alabama and Clemson this year once again in the national championship game on January 7th. So I think Clemson's going to win the early game, and then I think Alabama will win the nightcap over Oklahoma. But Alabama, they're going up against this year's Heisman Trophy winner, Kyler Murray, who will be playing baseball next year. He has already signed with the Oakland Athletics, was drafted in the first round this past year by them and has signed, so he will be playing baseball. And Oklahoma, they'll be moving on, next year and whatnot. And I talked about Michigan there moving into the future. We'll have to see what Oklahoma will do as well. I mean, there's rumors that Lincoln Riley could potentially be leaving to go to the NFL, make the jump to the National Football League. But I think he'll stay put. They'll figure something out. Oklahoma will be in the mix next year as well, along with Notre Dame, Clemson, Alabama, just like it is right now. So don't know if these 4 teams will make the playoff again next year, but really hard to say no, especially for Alabama and Clemson, especially for Alabama because they've made the playoff for 5 consecutive years. Every year that the college football playoff has been going on, Alabama has been in it in the end. So Clemson, Alabama are my predictions for this Saturday's games. Goodyear Cotton Bowl and the Capital One Orange Bowl. I think they'll meet in Santa Clara on Monday, January 7th. I'll have live reactions, play-by-play of the national championship game right here on YouTube as well when that time rolls around. So Clemson, Alabama, they'll both be 14-0 going into that game. And then stay tuned for my predictions on who I think will win that game. I mean, right now, I'd probably have to lean towards Alabama just because Clemson's damn good though. But maybe we get Notre Dame, Oklahoma. Maybe we get Notre Dame, Alabama. Maybe we get Oklahoma, Clemson. Who the hell knows? You got to let the games play out. We'll see what happens this weekend for these bowl games. This has been part 5 of my bowl predictions. So thank you for listening. Like I said, be sure to hit that thumbs up button and also subscribe to Gridiron Ring right here on YouTube. And be sure to also hit that notify bell so you get a notification. And then I will see everybody this weekend for live reactions, play-by-play of the Goodyear Cotton Bowl between Notre Dame and Clemson, the Capital One Orange Bowl between Oklahoma and Alabama, and then the 2 NFL games on Sunday. Well, there's more than 2 games in the NFL on Sunday. Should rephrase that there. But the 2 games I'll be announcing, doing live reactions, play-by-play of, will be the Steelers-Bengals at 4:25 on CBS, and then Sunday Night Football at 8:20 between the Colts and Titans. So once again, thanks for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button and also subscribe to Gridiron Ring right here on YouTube.